What's going on, guys? So today is going to be a really interesting video. In today's wait, what's that noise? Uh-oh. All right, welcome back. So this is going to be part 2 in this two-part series on how to operate a zero-turn mower as I train my wife on how to properly use one of these. We've got a lot of lawn out here. Part 1, we went over the fundamentals of the mower itself, some of the things that you want to understand about where things are, what they do, how they work. And part 2, this one, we're going to actually train her on how to use this mower. And again, keep in mind, this may not be how everyone does it, but this is just how I've grown up doing it. This is how I was raised and how I was taught how to operate a zero turn. So we're going to kind of go from here and see how she fares. What do you think? Are you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm a little nervous of the speed of this thing because I know they're very powerful. So
okay, so we're going to kind of walk you through controlling that, because I think that's probably going to be the most important thing for you, is to understand how to control the movement of the mower. So first of all, let's go ahead and get on the mower. You're going to step right here. Yep, on that little platform, not right there. And then go ahead and climb on.
Let me ask you this. Where can I grab onto?
You can grab that handle.
It's not going to hurt if I'm pulling on it?
Not going to hurt if you pull on it. Yep.
Okay. And then step.
Okay. So now that you're on the mower, let's take a look over here at your control station. This is essentially where the operator will control this specific mower. Okay, let's go through everything down here, starting from the front and working our way to the back. So up front, this is your ignition. This is your key. You're going to start it by turning it all the way to the right until it starts. And then when you let go, it'll spring back to the center position right here, which is essentially your started idling position. It's going to be like an old school car, where not like the new ones where you just push a button and then you let go and it starts. This one, you're going to have to hold it until you hear it start, and then you're going to let go and it will spring back to the center position right here. This is your PTO, or your blade engagement. Right now it is currently in the down position. Whenever you lift it up like this, it will turn the blades on when you're at the appropriate throttle and you're ready to start mowing.
That has to be down.
That has to be down. Right here is your display showing you information about what's going on with the mower. You see these 4 boxes up top? These are all the things that the mower has to be in for the mower to be able to start. So once you put the key in the on position, you'll start to see these light up. And when all 4 of them are checked, that's when you can actually start the mower. Those are those safety features I was talking about. It currently has 6.2 hours on the display. Here's your throttle, turtle, rabbit. Turtle, or all the way back, indicates the slowest idling of the engine. All the way up is the position you'd want to be in when you start your PTO or engage your blades, or if you want to move around the property the quickest. Typically, if you're going to be operating the mower, you want to be operating at above quarter throttle. So if you're going to be like just driving it around, then when you're about to start the blades, you want to turn this all the way up to rabbit, all the way up to the fastest, because you want that power to get the blades going. Right here is your choke. Your choke is what's used to actually start the mower in different types of conditions. And most of the time, if it's cold outside, you're going to have to open up your choke like this, and then you're going to push it down whenever the mower starts. So if it doesn't start right away with the choke down, then you're going to want to lift it up, go to start it, and then in the minute you start hearing it go, you're going to push this down, and then you'll hear the motor start up, and then you'll raise your throttle to keep some fuel going through the motor so it actually stays running.
Once it kicks in?
Correct. Right here is your light switch to turn on the headlight, and back here you have a USB port if you want to charge your phone or whatever you might have here that might need USB power. Most mowers will not have that. That's a pretty exclusive thing from the folks over at Toro. So the first thing we want to do is get this thing started. So what we're going to do, now that you're sitting on the platform, the handlebars are wide open, the parking brake is engaged, right? It's pulled up over here on your left side, the handle.
This one?
Yep, the parking brake right there. You see how the arrow below it points back, meaning it's engaged? So your brake is on. It needs to be on for you to be able to start this.
Okay.
All right. And then your blades are turned off, and you are seated in the seat. The next thing we want to do is go and buckle your seatbelt, just like a car.
Okay.
All right, now you're buckled in, and you're essentially checked all the boxes. So once you turn this little knob to the middle, don't try to start it yet, but go ahead and just flip this one spot to the right. All of them are checked, so you're good to go. But let's say that one of the handles was pulled in like that, because maybe you bumped it when you were getting on. Now go ahead and flip the key over once. You're going to see one of the little checks disappear, and that simply means that it's not going to let you start the mower. So if I try to start it, nothing's going to happen. And that's because you don't have this arm fully out. So all 4 of these boxes need to be checked before it lets you start the mower. But right now, you can see that you're in a good position to start the mower if you want to. Everything's ready to go. All the boxes are actually checked. And I guess that just disappears for a second, but then it comes back.
What was that 12.5 that just showed up?
12.5 is the voltage of the battery. It's simply telling you how many volts the battery is producing, which that's an indication of how healthy the battery is. If it drops below that to like 10 volts, it may not actually start.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start the mower. You have your seatbelt on. We have the rollover protection in place. We have all 4 boxes checked. You have the parking brake on. You have the handles completely out. You're sitting on the chair and the blade is not engaged. If the blade was engaged right here, you should also see something pop up here indicating that it's not going to work. Watch. So you see the first one? It won't work because the blades were engaged.
Okay.
So now that we're ready to start, all you're going to do, like I said, it's just like starting an old-fashioned car where you flip it over and then you try to start it. And if it doesn't start within a second or two, go ahead and let off of it and then we'll adjust the choke. So go ahead and try to start it.
Okay. Everything's good. Check.
Yep. Okay. There we go. All right. So it started right up. I'm going to turn it off here real quick. If it didn't start right up and it felt like it wasn't going to go, then you just pull the choke up like this, give yourself a little bit of throttle, just a little bit like that, and then go to start it. So go ahead and try to start it, but when you start it, the minute you start hearing it spin over, push this down.
Okay.
So you got to do it kind of quick. So go ahead. Okay, so it doesn't need the choke right now. So we can drop this down, push the choke down. Now go ahead and start it. Okay. Now we're going to raise the throttle up just a little bit. So go ahead and pull it up a little bit. You can go a little bit more than that. Okay, so it's going to get a little loud now. So we're ready to actually go now. You could actually operate this mower by pulling the handles in and going if you wanted to. But like I said, whenever you want to actually move the mower so you have enough RPMs to do it, you want to raise the throttle to usually about halfway. So go ahead and raise the throttle to the halfway position. Okay. Okay, so we shut it off here real quick just so you guys can hear me whenever it comes to this next part. The next part is how do we get the mower to physically move? So whenever you shut it off, first of all, it's always a good practice to go ahead and drop the throttle down and then turn the key off. If you are getting off of the mower, you engage the parking brake and push these handles out and you're ready to get off of it. But we're not to that point yet technically. So what you want to do to move the mower is grab both handles, pull them in towards you. Okay, once they're in, you're in a non-moving, kind of an idle position. The mower's not going to move. Once you start pushing them both forward, go ahead and push them forward gently. The mower will start to move forward. Okay, now if you push them forward all the way, it's going to go faster. So basically, that's your throttle speed. If you want to go faster or slower, that's your acceleration, essentially. So if you just push it a little bit forward, it's only going to move a little bit forward. The more forward you move it, the faster it's going to go. Now, the speed that you are capable of going here is directly related to your throttle as well. If your throttle's low, you're not going to be going very fast, even if you push them all the way up. If you want to go really fast, then you'd want to raise your throttle to its maximum. But remember, when you're cutting, you want your throttle all the way up.
Okay.
Right? So you'll be able to go as fast as the mower can possibly go, but you need that speed to be able to run your blades. So it's up to you at that point to be able to control the throttle or the speed through the handles up here.
Handles.
Yep.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do real quick is explain turning. So if you want to turn to the left, what do you think you need to do?
I would think you'd go this way.
Yep. So
you're
you can
kind of doing this.
Yes. So there's 2 ways essentially to turn to the left. That's one way. That's if you're going to make a wider turn. To the credit of the mower, it's called a zero turn, which means you don't need to move forward at all to make a turn. So if you wanted to just turn directly to the left, let's say that little mound of dirt right there you wanted to avoid. Mm-hmm. If you just hit this handle, the mower's going to turn like this. Okay. If you pull back on this handle and push forward on that handle, it's going to cause this back left tire to turn backwards and this tire to turn forward, and it's going to turn you instantly on the dot. So you can actually turn completely before you hit that mound of sand.
That's the zero turn.
That's why they call it zero turn. Yep. You could technically sit in one spot and just do circles. The thing you want to keep in mind is you're going to have a tire or a wheel that's moving even though the mower's not moving forward or backward, and it's going to tear up your lawn. So you want to be careful. Anytime the mower's sitting stationary and a tire's turning, that tire's going to be digging in. So typically you want to kind of baby it. If you want to make this turn, you can push forward here and you might pull slightly back right here, or you might just want to push forward here. But this is something you can practice. You got to get the feel for it.
Get the feel of it.
Yep. Now, if you want to go backwards, you pull them both backwards towards you. So go ahead and pull them both backwards towards you. Yep, so if you want to turn in reverse, that's where you kind of have to build a feel for it, because it feels awkward turning in reverse on a zero turn. Because you have to understand that if this one is stationary right here and you pull backward on that one, this one's going to want the tractor to turn like this. If you are pulling both of them back, or one of them forward and one of them back, you're going to have to kind of feel what it's like to make that type of a turn on a zero turn. It's not just instinctual. It's something you got to, again, work with. Most of what we're going to do today, I think it makes more sense to practice going forward and your turns going forward. All right, so let's go ahead and get it started back up. You got to put the handles out first.
Okay.
Remember,
So
all
this
those
is
boxes
good,
have to be
all
checked.
this-
Everything here is good.
Put my handles out.
Okay, now turn the key to the on position, but don't start it. Make sure all your boxes check. Give it a second here. All four boxes are checked. Go ahead and start the mower. Started right up. Let's move your throttle to about the halfway position. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and turn off your parking brake. So push that handle right over here down. All right, now you're gonna pull both handles in. All right, now you're gonna push forward very gently on both of them at the same time.
Yeah, see it move right there.
Okay, so we're really close to my mower right now, and I want her to slightly turn this way. So what handle do you think you press? Just push this one by itself forward a little bit.
Oh, okay, so not this one.
You don't have to do anything with that one right yet. You see how it's making a gradual turn? Okay, now go ahead and turn so you're pointed towards the black trailer over there. Okay, so now you're pointed that way. Now you want to go straight. So you can kind of feel it. Push both handles up at the same time. And then make adjustments as you need to straighten out. If you want to stop, you want to pull it just back to this normal middle position. Otherwise you'll go back. So go ahead and go backwards a little bit. Pull them back towards you a little bit. Now pull your left one a little bit harder going backwards. All right, now pull your right one. Go ahead. Okay, now all you're gonna do is push them both together at the same time to go straight. And then if you want to turn, I think you figured it out. You push your left one forward. If you want to turn really sharp, let's practice that real quick. I want you to pull your left one back and push your right one forward at the same time, slowly. Okay, that's your zero turn. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's go ahead and take off. I'll let you go forward here, and we'll kind of see how you do. All right. Doing really good. And you know, for those of you who have done this before and operated them, you know, it's a big difference when you have confidence in doing something versus doing it for the first time. And this is truly her first time operating a zero turn. So I gave my wife some advice. I told her to stick her arm up, and if she feels like her arm would hit something, like a low-hanging branch, that means the rollover protection will hit it and she'll pop the front off the ground or just come to a sudden stop, which is never fun. She's doing really, really good. Very proud of her. I don't have the PTO engaged yet. I'm just letting her get the hang of driving it around and understanding the controls. It's not very difficult, but it's intimidating if you've never ridden one before and you're trying to figure out what you need to do to operate it. So she's doing just a really good job considering, you know, this is her first time on that. Okay, so we've stopped the mower right now because, quite frankly, I'm going to lose my voice trying to talk over it. Go ahead and put the parking brake back on. It's going to be on your left side. Pull that handle up. All right, so now it's ready to be started again. We have the handles open. She's seated on it. The blades are off. The parking brake's initiated. So we're checking all 4 boxes. So what we want to do is we're going to lower the cutting deck down to that 3.5-inch mark. So my wife's not the tallest person out there, so this is going to be interesting to see how she actually pushes that from where she's seated. Let's see how this works.
So definitely have to take off my seatbelt first.
Yep, which is fine for this exercise.
So push this down first.
You're going to push that down, then you see that handle right there. Push that handle forward.
How far do I go?
Just until you see it release pressure on the handle. Okay, now push that handle forward towards me. Now let go of your foot slowly. There you go. Now you see how it dropped down?
Okay.
So now the blade is resting against this pin. That's why the pin won't pop out anymore.
Okay.
So before it was in kind of a drive around mode, so the deck was as high as it could possibly go. Now it's in a cutting height. So you can still start the mower like this. So you don't have to worry about, you know, having the mower running and trying to get it into this height right here. But it's always a good idea when you're done and you turn everything off, put it back on its highest setting.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and get back in your seated position. Get yourself buckled in. All right, so once we start the mower this time, we're going to go ahead and do exactly what you were doing and get ready to go. You can even go ahead and put the handles in, right? But we are not going to move until we get the throttle cranked all the way up and we engage PTO, which will kick the blades on. So she's wearing eye protection, whether you can see it or not. The parking brake's up. Let's go ahead and start it. The handles have to be out.
Okay, out.
So you can go ahead and start the mower.
Up.
Up.
And then we're going to start the mower.
Right there. She's checking the gauges to make sure all 4 boxes are checked.
Everything's good.
Go ahead and start the mower. Okay, started right up. Now what she's going to do is she's going to raise the throttle all the way to its highest. But before she does that, let's go ahead and turn the parking brake off. We'll keep the handles out. Whenever she cranks the throttle to its highest position, which is all the way forward, she's going to pull the handles in, and then she's going to pull up on this right here, which will engage the blades, and she'll hear it. It's gonna really get kicking up. And then she's gonna run the blades. I just want her to get the feel for what it's like with the blades on. So the first thing we wanna do, and we can do this without actually pulling the handles in, go ahead and crank the throttle all the way up. Okay, now she's gonna go ahead and pull up on that real hard. The blades are running. Yep. Now you can take the handles, pull them in, and you can go forward. There you go.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Definitely felt the power. once I put that throttle all the way up.
Yeah, and then you felt the PTO. The throttle's an intimidating one because once you put that all the way up really high, the motor really feels like it's getting louder, more powerful, and it's a little bit intimidating because you're like, man, how loud, how powerful is this thing going to get, right?
Yeah, you can definitely feel it go faster. You know, it's a lot more sensitive, so got to get used to it for sure.
Yep. And then when you mow, what you essentially do is you look at the tire lines that you make. And then when you go back and forth, if you're going to be going back and forth like this, you would essentially just keep your cutting deck along those tire lines that you made previously. And that's how you essentially keep your straight lines whenever you're mowing.
Okay.
So if you're going to go around the property, that's what you do. You'd look for your last tire marks and your blade marks. If the grass is tall enough, then of course you can see what part's cut. But sometimes all you can see is like the little ruts you leave in the ground. And that distinguishes between tall areas and shorter areas that might typically be a little bit difficult to tell to where you need to go next. So you can keep that cut going all the way across the yard.
Yeah. So this is your secret way of getting me to cut the yard from now on, huh?
Absolutely. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to have a beer. So I expect the yard to be mowed by the time it gets dark outside. And if it gets dark, you got some headlights. So good luck, baby. Love you.
And I'll be cooking dinner at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, there's a roast in the oven. So can you keep an eye on that for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't want to wake up from my nap and all of a sudden the yard's not mowed and the roast isn't done. So no, I'm kidding. My wife is wonderful and she actually has been dying to come out here and get on the mower and just help me out. I mean, she's an angel. She's my queen.
And it's the perfect weather today and the best teacher I have right now to teach me all this. So.
Oh, well, she's an amazing woman. I'm lucky.
I love you, baby.
I love you too. So before we wrap up this video, I want to challenge my wife. Go ahead and get this thing started for me, running and ready to go. Before we do that, let's go ahead and lift the blades back up because we don't need them running.
Okay. So let's get the blades back up.
Unbuckling the seatbelt. Pushing that all the way forward. And then once you get this all the way forward, you're going to pull that back and then let go of this. You got to pull it forward more.
Yep.
There you go. Now pull the handle back. A little bit more. A little bit more.
Wait, hold on. There you go.
Now pull it back a little bit, and as you're pulling back, drop that in the groove.
This?
Yep, as you're starting to let go, you'll feel where that drops into the groove. There you go. Now it's all the way up.
I didn't feel the difference.
It is.
Okay.
The way you can kind of tell now is you can pop the pin out. It's no longer resting on the pin.
I guess.
Okay, so what do you need to do to get this bad boy started without consulting me?
All right, first put my seatbelt on because these things are fast. Okay, click it. Okay, and I have these out. Parking brake, throttle down. Everything looks good so far.
Everything's good so far?
Like this. Check my little check marks here. Everything's good. And now I'm going to turn it on.
There she goes. Guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.